A revelation that changes everything. Blast accused Shariq was inspired by Zakir Naik. Shariq influenced by Zakir's teachings. Hate preachers' ideology radicalized Shariq. India objects to Zakir's FIFA appearance in Qatar. Zakir-Shariq link unravels.
Good evening and welcome. I'm Shiv Aroor. This is 5 Live. We've got a big news break coming up here. First, the headlines. Was Aftab Punawala inspired by the crime thriller Drishyam? This revelation in his lie detector test, recovery of body parts in Surajkund on the outskirts of Delhi, adds another twist to the Chadha murder case. Furor over Richa Chadha's Galwan says hi tweet refuses to die down after Akshay Kumar. Now Anupam Kher slams her on Twitter. Congress Neta Nagma comes out in Richa's support. Delhi Dangal takes an explosive twist. Manish Sisodia says BJP is plotting Kejriwal's assassination. Demands MP Manoj Tiwari's arrest. Gay couple moves Supreme Court, seeks recognition of same-sex marriage in India. Top court issues notice to centre seeking appropriate direction. More mayhem in China as COVID cases hit a record high. Hazmat suit-wearing officials seen battering residents. It's the same story in several cities across China. The Congress party could find itself in a spot of embarrassment after one of its celebrity netas and Vice President of the Maharashtra Congress, after coming out in support of Richa Chadha. Nagma Moraji has come out apparently in support of Richa Chadha. She has stoked another controversy. In an exclusive conversation with India Today's Gaurav Sawant, Nagma Moraji of the Congress party has said that the Indian Army Northern Commander's statement on POK could have been made to benefit the BJP. A grave allegation that she appears to make, that the Army General in question is politically close to the BJP. Nagma suggests that the Army could be politicized and says that several Army officers have joined the BJP in the past. She does not qualify, however, why she would make such an allegation against a serving general who was simply answering questions at a press conference. Here's that explosive interview that India Today's Gaurav Sawant has done with Nagma of the Congress party. She's the Vice President of the Mumbai Congress, and she has just insinuated political leanings, political color to what a serving Indian Army Lieutenant General, the Northern Commander no less, has just said.
Your point is that the army commander responded to a question because of elections happening, a question on POK.
Now we are talking about a response that a veteran gave on somebody's, somebody's comment. And I tweeted on that, seconding him. He is also from the army. It doesn't make anyone lesser or more because, everybody is from the army. So people can have different perspectives. And yes, of course, in his tweet he said that, there could be politicizing in the army as well. And that could be a possibility, right?
Okay. So, because my question is very specific, that the Army Commander, Northern Command, responding to a question about taking back POK, in your view, or the view that you agree with, is because it is aimed to benefit the BJP in elections.
I don't know, could be possible. Could be possible. It is not something which is now. When I say that,
but that's a very grave charge. That's a very grave charge that the Congress is leveling on Army Commander, Northern Command.
It's not the Congress which is leveling this charge. It is me as a person who I personally think that complete army cannot be bereft also of not, there are generals in the past we've seen who have gone and joined the BJP, and could be that, there could be a reason for that. And this is a tweet that a veteran has given. A veteran's, this is his point of view. And I've seconded his point of view, that there could be a possibility.
I want to go across now to India Today's Gaurav Sawant. Also joining us live is Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, Veer Chakra, a veteran of the Indian Army, hero of Siachen, and he's been with us right through our coverage of these new controversies. Gaurav, coming to you first. Pretty shocking. One is not surprised or shocked anymore by the things that politicians say. But Nagma Moraji, you gave her a chance to qualify her comment, and she said it's not the Congress saying this, it's my personal comment. Nagma Moraji is vice president, of a Congress unit in Maharashtra, and she has basically openly insinuated political color, political leanings of Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi, the chief of the Indian Army's Northern Command. That's a very, very grave charge to make, Gaurav.
Shiv, it indeed is. Army Commander, Northern Command, was responding to a question put by a journalist on the situation and whether, if instructed, India can take back Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. And it was a military response to the best of, your knowledge or mine, if we were, because you and I have covered defense on ground over decades. When you put this question to the army about Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, and this time there was a context given the fact that both Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and General Ojla, the Chinar co-commander, had commented about this, about situation in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, or the fact that it's a 1994, parliamentary resolution that entire Jammu and Kashmir, including Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan, are an integral and inalienable part of India. So can India take it back? Army commander says if that's an instruction, we are prepared for any eventuality. We want ceasefire, but in case there's a ceasefire violation, we will give a befitting response. These are standard answers. To say that these answers are being given because there are elections or army officers have a political ambition and they've joined political parties, because Shiv, you and I know they've joined every political party. There are a number of generals who've joined, whether it's the Congress or the BJP or any other political party in India. Post-retirement, they have done so.
Which they're totally allowed to.
Which they're totally allowed to.
Yes.
So it just shows, what a vicious political environment exists, that even the armed forces are not spared.
I want to tell my producers to put the tweet of Nagma Moraji on our screen so our viewers know exactly what we're talking about. There it is. That's the tweet that Nagma has quote tweeted an Indian Army veteran who appears to be defending Richa Chadha. So by doing so, Nagma appears to be, supporting or validating what that person has said and endorsing it, and in that way indirectly also defending what Richa Chadha has said. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni is also with me on this. General Kulkarni, this is bizarre. You heard Nagma's conversation with Gaurav just now. She said, a veteran has also said this, and I was merely echoing that same sentiment. It's one thing for a veteran to comment on other serving army officers. That's a completely different issue from a politician casting aspersions on a sitting Lieutenant General of the Indian Army. You yourself have been a Lieutenant General, sir. Here you have Nagma Moraji, by no means a political small fry, a celebrity Neta of the Indian National Congress, saying the POK statement could have been made to benefit the BJP. She's already attributing motive to Lieutenant General Dwivedi. She says the army could be politicized. Army officers have joined the BJP in the past. How do you react to this, sir?
Shiv, thank you very much. I think it's time that you send them your books, India's Most Fearless. Most of the people over there who you've covered for their valor are those who have served when the Congress was in power. It doesn't matter. The army is apolitical. It doesn't matter to the army who's in power. Whoever is in power, they are the ones who give orders to the army, irrespective. I fought in 1984 on Siachen. Who was in power? I have great regard for Mrs. Indira Gandhi. Doesn't become I become a congressman or I become a BJP or something. It's not like that. Army is not to be politicized. It's absolutely this vicious political environment, this kind of feeling, it looks bankruptcy of thoughts. You do not say that. I think even what Gaurav was saying, it was to a pointed question of a journalist. The army commander just responded and very politely and very nicely responded to say that, look, if the Raksha Mantri said that, that is covered by the parliamentary resolution, and should the orders come, army will do what it is ordered to do. And that's exactly what he will say. What else is he expected to say? That no comments or anything like that? Raksha Mantri is saying that he is admitting it has been there, and they are, and why not? They should be willing to do it, and they will do it. I have full confidence they will do it. But that is what it is. I think it is time that the politicians stay away from all. It is not their domain. If they do not understand, let them stay out. Of course, she said that it is my own personal. It is better that she understands. If she is the vice president of a political unit, she must keep her mouth shut on these issues and do not comment on these. It is better to refrain. Why say anything like that?
And also, you know, Gaurav, it is dangerous to say things like these. You know, Lieutenant General Upendra Dwivedi or any general in the Indian Army, you know, has a kind of responsibility that most of us cannot even fathom. And here you have a throwaway remark by a politician saying, he must have said this or he could have said this to benefit the BJP, you know, amidst the political sort of bickering that goes on between the Congress and the BJP. It is extremely disconcerting, isn't it, Gaurav, to see a comment like this being made so loosely against, you know, a sitting army commander.
Shiv, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. It's dangerous. Sitting army commander, Northern Command. It is one of the most sensitive commands of the Indian Army, where the situation is live on both borders. The northern border with China and the western border with Pakistan. So this is one area where you're facing, you're actually facing 2.5 fronts. You're facing a hostile Pakistan, constantly sending terrorists. You're facing a hostile China, an expansionist force in our region. The 2.5 are those elements, of course less than 100 at this stage, but you still have armed terrorists in Jammu and Kashmir, and this is a festering problem for the past 75 years. Now here is the army commander who's in charge of keeping our country safe, and it's not keeping the BJP safe or the Congress safe, it's keeping India safe. And that's the point, that India's political leadership, whether in the government or the opposition, and especially, you know, leaders who think that these are political statements being made by the army commander, they need to be very careful, because you do have a hostile power that will exploit these fissures. Pakistan is exploiting fissures, like the statement of that film actor. You know, they're going viral with the statement of that film actor, not the actor's fault, but at the same time, whether it's China or Pakistan, they will play mind games with our country, and our people need to be careful.
Gaurav, Lieutenant General Kulkarni, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me. Okay, we're going to just stay with this for a little while longer, because we're going to get some reactions in on this story for a while. General Kulkarni, you know, a sitting Lieutenant General obviously can't react. Like, even when Richa Chadha said something, the army obviously can't engage and react and debunk these things. We've been, you know, throwing the light on the actual facts of the matter of what happened in Galwan. But what Nagma Moraji appears to have done is something far more dangerous, isn't it, sir? Because the army works on discipline. The army, you know, is a regimented organization, you know, where everything is absolutely clear cut. And to have someone like Nagma, who is, as I said, very popular, very influential, followed by millions of people in the country, for her to point a finger on a national television channel and say, what this general has said could benefit the BJP, that plants doubt in the minds of citizens, sir. Isn't that true? The citizens love the army, but to say something like this is dangerous.
Absolutely, Shiv, I totally agree with you. She should have avoided it, and definitely, no, I know General Dwivedi personally. The question, he is far away from politics, far away from politics. And anybody, we are not People's Liberation Army, we are not the party's army, we are Indian Army. We belong to the nation, and whoever is in power, it doesn't concern us. We are apolitical, and we are trained only to fight. and we will ensure whatever orders are given will be executed. We are trained to win. That's the way we are, and we should, and why not? And they're making statements like this all along, as I told you, even while I was in service. Who did I fight under? I fought under the Congress power. Now, how does it matter to me? It doesn't matter whether it was Congress power or BJP power. Whichever the government, to us, the importance of the government. They are apolitical, and nobody in India should even doubt what the Indian Army does. Indian Army does it for the nation. For them, the blood runs. It is Naam, Namak, Nishan. That is what we all stand for, and that is what we are taught, and that is what we do. Therefore, I think anybody and everybody, and especially if you are a representative of a political party, you could have differences. We don't care what differences there are, but when it concerns national.
There is questioning the army, there is criticizing the armed forces, both of which are totally okay, but insinuating motive and political color to what the Lieutenant General, the Army Commander North, has said, which is a standard Indian Army response to any question regarding POK. From the time a resolution was passed in 1994 till now, that same standard stock answer has been given by every Army General who's been asked that question. For him to be pointed at by a luminous Congress leader to say this could have been done to help the BJP is insidious, it is irresponsible, and it is plainly wrong. Listen in once again to Nagma Moraji taking Gaurav's questions.
Your point is that the army commander responded to a question because of elections happening, a question on POK.
Now we are talking about a response that a veteran gave on somebody's, somebody's comment. And I tweeted on that, seconding him. He is also from the army. It doesn't make anyone lesser or more because, everybody is from the army. So people can have different perspectives. And yes, of course, in his tweet he said that, there could be politicizing in the army as well. And that could be a possibility, right?
Okay. So, because my question is very specific, that the Army Commander, Northern Command, responding to a question about taking back POK, in your view, or the view that you agree with, is because it is aimed to benefit the BJP in elections.
I don't know, could be possible. Could be possible. It is not something which is now. When I say that,
but that's a very grave charge. That's a very grave charge that the Congress is leveling on Army Commander, Northern Command.
It's not the Congress which is leveling this charge. It is me as a person who I personally think that complete army cannot be bereft also of not, there are generals in the past we've seen who have gone and joined the BJP, and could be that, there could be a reason for that. And this is a tweet that a veteran has given. A veteran's, this is his point of view. And I've seconded his point of view, that there could be a possibility.
I want to go across to the BJP's Shaina NC joining us live on this story. Shaina, India Today breaking another big story on, on the back of Richa Chadha's comments. Nagma Moraji of the Congress party, specifically telling India Today in an interview just now that the comments made by the Army General about POK could have been to benefit the BJP. That's a very, a very grave charge that Nagma Moraji appears to have leveled at the army. Your response?
Not only is it a grave charge, I think it has warranted a huge backlash. If one even sees Richa Chadha's tweet, talking about the Galwan clash, etc., let's understand that we are not here to politicize the armed forces and what exists. We all are here to respect the sacrifices of soldiers, and rather than making it into targeting a political statement by a serving general, you are disrespecting the armed forces. So my limited piece of sanity or advice to those who choose to speak on this issue is please apologize for your statement, because the armed forces are outraged at this kind of comment. And I think it's imperative for us to understand that if you belong to a particular party or you don't, that's aside. What happens with China, what the armed forces are doing is obviously not to be exposed in public domain, but the respect that we have for our forces should continue. So those who sit on judgment should probably think before speaking rather than speak and then think.
Shaina NC, thanks very much for speaking to India. Kavinder Gupta, former Deputy Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, has also reacted to this big India Today news break. Nagma Moraji of the Congress party saying the army general who was responding to a question on POK and who said the army is ready in every respect to follow the government's orders on retaking POK could have been saying so to benefit the BJP. A grave charge. Here's Kavinder Gupta's response.
कांग्रेस की ये हमेशा से आदत रही है, इनके नेता हों या कोई भी इनका व्यक्ति हो, हमेशा से आर्मी के किए हुए कार्यों पर जो वीरता के काम भी किए उन पर सवाल उठाती है। कांग्रेस का करैक्टर इससे खुल करके सामने आ गया है और कांग्रेस से कभी भी क्योंकि इनके जो नेता हैं उन्होंने जिस प्रकार से सरकारें चलाई विदेशों के आधार पर, तो इनको अपने आप में ना तो कॉन्फिडेंस है, ना ये सेना की जो वीरता है उसको कभी एप्रिशिएट करते हैं।
And now on to our spotlight story. Guess whose videos the police say they found on the phone of Mohammed Shariq, the main accused in the Mangaluru blast case? The one and only Zakir Naik. India's most famous communal hate preacher, wanted in cases that range from terror financing to money laundering to hate speech. And as you also know, Zakir Naik is currently enjoying the splendid hospitality of Qatar. Let me simplify that just a little bit further, viewer. A man wanted in India for terror-related cases by the world's biggest democracy is being hosted by a country that professes to have robust linkages with India. It was this same Qatar, remember, that led an army of Islamic nations to attack India, specifically India's ruling party, the BJP, on the Prophet Muhammad comments made by former BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma earlier this year. It was Qatar that triggered a wave of theocratic Islamic dictatorships to vilify India as some kind of communal hellhole. Everyone knows what followed. There was retributive violence against anyone who dared to support or defend Nupur Sharma. There were Sartan se juda threats all over the place, including a butchering in Udaipur and a man having his throat cut in Amravati. Widespread protests and violence, you remember that. Well, Zakir Naik, who has fled India back in 2017 under the fire of terror-related charges against him, has found safe haven in another Islamic nation, Malaysia. And now Qatar welcomes him onto their land. The Qatari government is understood to be making excuses, saying Zakir Naik is not a state guest and wasn't invited by us. But what message has Qatar sent to the world and to India if it has even permitted entry and facilitated a man wanted by India in terror-related cases? India is not Qatar. It doesn't recognize blasphemy, and it happens to be a secular republic. So India cannot and would never rally the international community based on perceived religious slight. But that still doesn't explain a total lack of a strong stance from India on Qatar hosting Zakir Naik. We can sit here and rue the fact that Qatar, which had breathed fire over Nupur Sharma's comments, is literally providing safe haven to a man accused of terror by a democratically elected system. Are diplomatic complexities the excuse? Is it the fact that there are so many lakhs of Indians living and working in Qatar? Or is it something else entirely that I'm missing? Let's be clear. By allowing Zakir Naik onto their soil, Qatar has signaled that it is either okay or complicit with everything that Zakir Naik is accused of. Not by an Islamic petrocracy, but the world's largest democracy.
24-year-old Mohammed Shariq was carrying an IED in a cooker in an auto rickshaw when it exploded on the outskirts of Mangaluru on Saturday. The blast led to an explosive unraveling of an ISIS-inspired terror and radicalization plot across 3 southern Indian states of Karnataka, Kerala and Tamil Nadu. From scrawling pro-terror Lashkar graffiti in Shivamogga to instigating anti-India protests, Shariq was a jihad influencer. Top police sources have now told India Today that Shariq was inspired by hate preacher Zakir Naik. Shariq would share videos of the fugitive speeches with other accused in the Mangaluru blast case to radicalize them. Shariq would allegedly share PDFs, videos and audio files to radicalize Maz Muneer, Yasin and Zabi. Zakir Naik's videos were used to convince these young boys to wage war against India. Police have recovered videos of Zakir Naik, ISIS and other Muslim influential leaders from Shariq's phone. These videos were allegedly shared through Telegram, Signal, Wire, Elements and Instagram. Televangelist Zakir Naik continues to deliver his Islamist lectures. He is currently in Qatar to deliver religious sermons during the ongoing FIFA World Cup. While Qatar has told India Today that no invitation was extended to Zakir Naik, New Delhi has already raised the issue with Doha. Naik faces charges of money laundering and delivering hate speeches in India. He fled to Malaysia in 2016, just before the National Investigation Agency started a probe against him. In March this year, the Home Ministry had declared Zakir Naik founded Islamic Research Foundation an unlawful association and banned it for 5 years. With Sagai Raj in Bengaluru, Bureau Report, India Today.
And now videos of this same terror-accused man, terror-related cases, the man wanted in those cases, is being hosted and facilitated by Qatar. So what are we to think? That man's videos now found on the phone of Mohammed Shariq, the main accused in the Mangaluru blast case. I don't need to spell it out any more clearly than that. Shariq, who is the main accused in the Mangaluru blast case, shared PDFs, videos, audio files with his co-accused. Zakir Naik's videos were used allegedly to radicalize others. This is what the police is telling us. Zakir Naik's preach videos, many of them are communal hate speech. They were used to instigate a war against India. Zakir videos have been recovered from Shariq's phone, is what the police say, and his videos were shared by Shariq via Telegram, Signal, and also on Instagram. So there is a very clear Zakir Naik imprint in what's happening in Mangaluru right now. Whether he is directly linked or not, we don't know. But his videos have clearly been used by the main accused, and that counts for something. We told you now about Qatar being the country where Zakir Naik currently is. Since 2017, when he fled India, he has been in Malaysia. But now he is in Qatar. Qatar, as you know, is in the headlines in a very big way because of the FIFA World Cup. It has run into a series of different controversies related to the World Cup itself. But Qatar is also now in the eye of the storm because of Zakir Naik reaching Doha ahead of the FIFA World Cup to preach Islam. Zakir Naik is a fugitive from the law in India and is also wanted in connection with terror indoctrination investigations in Bangladesh. But this is not the first time that Qatar has been accused of giving shelter to extremists, from the Taliban having an office in Doha to support to the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas. Qatar is being questioned for its financial and political support to extremist forces.
I bear witness. I bear witness.
Controversial radical Islamic preacher Zakir Naik in Doha, Qatar, to deliver sermons on Islam has led to a furor in India. Zakir Naik is a fugitive from law in India, wanted in connection not just with charges of money laundering but also hate speech. New Delhi confirmed they have taken up the issue diplomatically with Doha. Though Qatar has told India it has not extended an official invitation to Zakir Naik to preach Islam, Doha has been in the eye of a storm for its support to radical elements from the Taliban to the Hamas. Taliban opened its overseas office in Qatar in 2013. Mullah Baradar lived in Doha 2018 onwards. Taliban leadership flew to Kandahar from Doha. In fact, the Taliban leadership flew on board Qatar Air Force transport planes. Qatar links are not restricted just to Taliban and Zakir Naik. Despite being a key US ally in the Persian Gulf and the US Navy 5th Fleet being stationed in Qatar, charities and individuals based in Qatar have been accused of wiring $800,000 to Syria, where a US journalist was killed by the Islamic State in 2014. Qatar is also accused of backing a rebellion against the Syrian president Bashar al-Assad. Qatar is in the line of fire for its support both to the Muslim Brotherhood and to Hamas. The US Treasury Under Secretary for Terror and Financial Intelligence in a 2014 report had said, Qatar, a long-term US ally, has for many years openly financed Hamas, a group that continues to undermine regional stability. Qatar is a major non-NATO ally of the US, but it remains to be seen whether it will assist India in taking action against Zakir Naik, also wanted in connection with hate speeches and terror indoctrination in Bangladesh. Bureau Report, India Today.
India Today has accessed inside details, even more inside details of Aftab Punawala's ongoing lie detector or polygraph test. Sources tell India Today that when the lab expert asked Aftab if he thinks he can escape taking inspiration from films such as Drishyam, Aftab responded saying that more recently even Drishyam 2 had been released. Well, during the test he was asked about his childhood friends, his relationship with Chadha. Aftab was also asked if he had committed the murder, and if yes, what did he do with crucial evidence and Shraddha's body parts. On Thursday, Aftab underwent his second round of questioning during the polygraph test for 8 hours, which was halted after he complained of ill health. Sources said he was feeling feverish last night and even complained of a cold. The test will resume after Aftab's health improves, likely next week. Tejshri Purandare joins me live. She's been tracking this story from the front lines. Tejshri, some interesting pieces of information emerging from the polygraph test so far. It's going to continue next week, I guess. But what are the big takeaways from what Aftab has said so far?
Yes, of course, it's been said that the first part of the polygraphy test is completed. But what we are learning as of now is he's completely, giving his statements in such a way that investigation could be delayed and derailed as well. So what he is doing is he is continuously answering all the questions in English language. And he is not answering, he is not giving detailed answers. He is giving answers in one-word kind of manner. Second very interesting thing which has come out is that when asked to him that did you watch the movie Drishyam or were you inspired by that movie, so his answer was yes, I did watch the movie Drishyam and the second part is also out now. So such kind of statements, will be acting against him in the court of law. Second, what important thing we are learning over here is the person named as Badri. Badri was the one who got him flat in the Chhatarpur, because it is noteworthy that the Chhatarpur flat is very near to the Mehroli forest and very near to the Maidangadi pond as well. So was it a pre-planned murder just because he said that it all happened because of the heat of the moment? Then why did he purchase the flat just 10 days before, contacted Badri? And it's also been, our sources are revealing that the police is also investigating and questioning Badri as well.
Okay, thanks very much, Tejshri. That polygraph is going to continue next week as well, so clearly there's going to be more that's going to come out from Aftab. The cold-blooded murder of 26-year-old Shraddha Walkar, I don't even need to say it anymore, just gets murkier, doesn't it, with each passing day. The hunt for bits of Shraddha Walkar's body has been widened by the Delhi police. The police investigated body pieces that were found in a Suraj Kund near Faridabad, which is a part of Haryana on the outskirts of Delhi. The Faridabad police found a lower torso and an upper part of a hip in Suraj Kund and passed on the information to the Delhi police. There is absolutely no reason to believe it is linked to Shraddha, but as you can imagine, everything is being investigated at this time. The search for murder clues in the Delhi butchery case has turned pan-India. Investigators searched for pieces of Shraddha's body in Delhi, Vasai in Maharashtra, Himachal, Uttarakhand and now Haryana as well. In the Mehrauli forest near Aftab and Shraddha's flat, the police recovered a piece of a jaw and other bones. In Vasai near Mumbai, the police searched a creek to locate Shraddha's missing cell phone. Investigative teams have also visited Himachal Pradesh, where Aftab allegedly hatched his plot to kill Shraddha, and Uttarakhand, where he may have attempted to murder her before but had previously failed.
ये आज सूरजपुर में क्या कोई बॉडी मिली थी?
जी अरविंद जी, आज करीब 2 बजे हमें 112 से इंफॉर्मेशन मिली थी सूरजपुर पुलिस स्टेशन को
जी
कि एक सूटकेस है और जिसमें कुछ संदिग्ध चीज है। तो मौके पे पुलिस गई कि एसएचओ सूरजकुंड और चौकी का जो एरिया है वहाँ की इंचार्ज
जी
और एसीपी एनआईटी और डीसीपी एनआईटी नरेंद्र कादियान
जी
जी।
तो ये बॉडी जो है ये कितनी पुरानी है, किस अवस्था में थी, कौन सा हिस्सा है बॉडी का?
हाँ, ये बॉडी का जो बीच का पार्ट है, मतलब ऊपर का सर नहीं है, नीचे का जो बोन होती है, फीमर बोन होती है, उससे ऊपर का पार्ट है, बीच बीच का पार्ट है जिसे हम धड़ कह सकते हैं, या बीच का जो पार्ट है अवशेष है वो है उसमें एक सूटकेस में
जी।
और काफी पुराना है, कम से कम 2 से 3 महीना पुराना लग रहा है
जी। तो क्या आपने दिल्ली पुलिस को भी इसके बारे में जानकारी दी थी, कौन कौन लोग आए थे?
जी हाँ, इसमें हमने एहतियातन दिल्ली पुलिस को भी इन्फॉर्म किया था और जगह भी हमने इसके बारे में पता किया था। एसएचओ प्रहलादपुर दिल्ली पुलिस से और एसीपी महरौली वहाँ पे पहुंचे थे मौके पे और उन्होंने भी उन्हें वहाँ जो सूटकेस मिला था, जो पैलेस था, वहाँ पे निरीक्षण किया था।
अच्छा, तो अभी कोई सैंपल क्या दिल्ली पुलिस या एसीपी महरौली वो जो टुकड़े मिले हैं क्या उसका कोई सैंपल लिया एफएसएल के जरिए? आप
नहीं, वो हमने वो जो एक पसलियां सी है, कंकाल जैसा है वो, और उस बॉडी को जो पार्ट है उसको गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल है फरीदाबाद में, बीके हॉस्पिटल में, वहाँ पे रखवाया गया है और डॉक्टर्स का जो बोर्ड है वो इसके पोस्टमार्टम करेगा इसका।
And just look at the spread of the investigation, viewer, and how it has expanded from one location to another. Here's, the murder trail as it stands right now. There will be more places added. Tosh in Himachal Pradesh. Aftab is alleged to have hatched the murder plan here, so the police has gone there. Rishikesh in Uttarakhand, well-known, rafting resort town. The report suggests that Aftab tried to kill Shraddha there, according to our sources. Mehrauli, which is a part of South Delhi. Aftab murdered Shraddha in that flat that they both lived in here. In the Mehrauli forest adjoining where that flat is, where the police found bones and jaw fragments that are still being tested to see if they belong to Shraddha. And in Faridabad, where an unidentified half torso has been found, and it is being checked if it has anything at all whatsoever to do with the Aftab Shraddha case. And of course, Vasai, Maharashtra, the town in Maharashtra on the outskirts of Mumbai, from where both these young persons hailed. A hunt for Shraddha's mobile phone continues in the Bhayandar Creek by a team of the Delhi police. We'll keep a track of that story very, very closely. The investigation continues and polygraph of Aftab Punawala will continue next week.